struggles of the Western world. We're trying to maintain our Eastern roots, and we'd love you to spread your light and share your wisdom with us.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Ava, and I am a physician here. I had a question regarding conventional versus holistic medicine, and would love to know your opinion on it, and when you think it's appropriate to approach one versus the other.
Well, that's a wise question, because most people are taking one against the other. See, wherever there is knowledge, we must lap it up. Doesn't matter why are we even segregating it as conventional versus modern. There's no such thing. Wherever there is insight and wisdom and knowledge, we must lap it up, because it's a question of life and death for somebody else. How can you take a position that I am allopathic, I am Ayurvedic, or I am Siddha, or I am something? I think it's a crime to do that, because it's somebody's life. Because as far as the patient is concerned, he doesn't care a damn what's the system, he just wants to get well, isn't it? So I think everybody who's taken this profession of handling people's health must lap up everything possible on the planet. And when one thing becomes irrelevant and other thing becomes relevant, we must understand this. When you say conventional medicine, there are various systems. I don't want to make one generic statement in all of them, because it's not true for all of them. There are different kinds of systems across the planet, depending upon what was available to them. For example, most of you might have heard of the Bach system of treatment in Europe. Just with 24 flowers, they're trying to do something. But in India, we're doing Ayurveda and Siddha, where we have formulations which are about 150,000 formulations. Ancient texts have over 150,000 formulations. So you cannot say conventional medicine is all one platform. Between Ayurveda and Siddha, you heard of Siddha? No, nobody knows. Southern Indian people, no Tamil people. Because most people have not heard of Siddha. The difference between Ayurveda and Siddha is herb-based largely. Siddha is more element-based. It's more complex and far more effective, but more difficult to scale up. We have some fantastic treatments going in our ashram. We call this the yogic hospital, now it's being called Rejuvenation Center, whatever, because we took out the name hospital. I don't want the ashram to be full of sick people, because that's not the focus of what we do. But in spite of that, our Rejuvenation Center is booked up for 1.5 to 2 years ahead of time. There's simply no space, because it's super effective. We thought we will bring that we have a center in Tennessee, but to be very honest, it's very difficult to bring. Because if you pluck a leaf in the morning when the dew is on, how it behaves. If you pluck it at 10 o'clock in the morning, how it behaves. If you pluck it at 2 in the afternoon, how it behaves. If you pluck it in the evening, how it behaves. If you pluck it after the moonlight comes on, how it behaves is very different. So we've been working on this for over 12, 15 years, how to standardize. We manufacture these medicines. How to we're not going into commercial manufacture, because that's not our intent. Our intent was to bring some kind of sanity between batch to batch. It's simply freaking us, it just doesn't work. Most of the Ayurvedic medicine that you buy, this is the problem. One batch you take it, fantastic, it worked. Next batch you take it, nothing. Because if you just leave the leaf for 2 hours extra, after you plucked, 2 hours extra you left it before you used it, it's not the same, it's gone. So Ayurveda and Siddha worked best when the practitioner walked into the jungle and plucked what he wanted, made a simple concoction and gave people like miracle, they stood up. But that miracle is not happening, or once in a way happening, random miracles are happening, but it is not repeatable. So the significance of modern medicine is that it's repeatable. It's chemical, it's not the best way to do it, but for the kind of population we have on this planet, I don't think ever you can go back to conventional medicine fully and treat everybody that way. But conventional medicine is significant when problems are very chronic and long-term treatment is possible. Today you're ill, tomorrow you want to go to work, you need to pump some chemical, unfortunately. But somebody is suffering for a long time and they're willing to go through a period of treatment. Now conventional medicine could work very well. But if you want to imbibe the conventional medicine, it needs a certain level of dedication and involvement in those ingredients and how it is done and how you are. All these things are important. I think the general atmosphere to do large-scale conventional medicine in the form of Ayurveda or Siddha is largely gone in the world. In small niche, you can create that. Like as we are managing this in the yoga center, it's a niche. Can we make this large scale? No. I'm telling you very honestly, if you try to make it large scale, it'll become a con job, to put it very straight. It'll become a con job because you will be giving the same things, but the same things won't work. So this distinction is very important, but at the same time, there are miraculous aspects out there. If you have the knowledge, if you can standardize it somehow, fine. But myself and a few doctors, we've been working on this. We find it extremely difficult to standardize. Batch integrity is just not possible. One batch, bindas, it works like that, next batch is just trash. But once you put people on it, you have to keep supplying it. That's why we've not gone into commercial production as such, we've kept very, very low profile, because I feel it's not honest to simply put out something out there. Maybe as a placebo it will work. That is a problem there. But the Siddha medicine that we are manufacturing within this thing, for each individual person it's done separately. You must come and see what kind of results, means unbelievable results. It's almost, nothing short of a miracle in terms of medical terms. Like that it works, but small scale. Scale up is difficult.
Part of the privilege of medicine is the ability to be in an exam room with your patient and to engage with them on a very deep emotional level. And often with that engagement, the idea is that you have empathy for them. You feel their pain. So I was reflecting on what you said this morning about it being a choice between whether you tell yourself to be blissful or to be in misery. But how do you navigate a world where so many of your patients have so much trauma and you are empathetic with them? How do you feel in that moment yet still try to retain bliss? How does that balance work when you're making that emotional connection?
See, you must understand, they have come to you only because they have problems. They have not come to you to fall in love with you. They got other places to do that. They have come to you because something is troubling them enough to come and strip in front of you. I'm saying, one must be troubled enough to do that, isn't it? You can't get a healthy man to do it. Troubled enough that I can't fix my own problem. That's when I come to you, isn't it? So, that's a given. So now I'm asking you, if somebody is miserable, let us say half the people here are miserable, for example. This half is miserable. So in empathy, this is how you understand empathy. In empathy, if this half also becomes miserable people, have you solved anything? Especially if this half is miserable. It's all the more important this half is joyful and somehow infect them with joy, because both misery and joy are infectious. Isn't it so? I will tell you my experience of The person who taught me yoga when I was 12 years of age, he was also an Ayurvedic doctor, an expert Ayurvedic doctor, he's a Nadi Vaidya. Only Monday mornings he sat as a doctor. So there were special buses, government buses coming from all over for Monday morning, 700, 800 patients. Morning 4:30 in the morning if he sits down, this will go on till evening 7, 8. He won't get up, he won't go for toilet, he don't go for food, he doesn't go for anything. We're all volunteers helping him with that thing. Volunteers come in shifts, but he's on the whole day. For every patient that comes, he has a joke to tell them. The whole situation is like a festival. Most of them forget about their ailment. When they come to him, they forget what to tell him. He will anyway judge by their nadi and give them what he has to give them. He created a whole festive atmosphere over the patient-doctor relationship. Tell me, if you are dead serious, I don't know how you use English language in the United States, but at least in India, if somebody came and told me my grandmother is serious, we understand, sir, she's on her way out. You also use that term, isn't it? The patient is serious, means what?
Ready to
About to go. If you become serious, what does it mean? Not called empathy, it means you're on the way out. And your patient may go with you. You may not physically die, but you're helping him. So, the most important thing I feel is, you may please think about it if you don't like it also. I think the most important thing is, you must be a symbol of life and energy, of joy. Patient comes like this because he's got some ailment. If you also in empathy, you must represent health, not illness, isn't it? He is a representative of illness right now. You must be a representative of life and well-being, isn't it so? This doesn't mean you're going to sit in front of him and laugh at his ailment. Joy does not mean you have to always laugh out, isn't it? Joy can find expression in so many different ways. And please understand this. When are you willing to… have you noticed this with yourself? On a certain day you're very joyful. You're willing to bend backwards to do whatever is needed for anybody around you, isn't it? You're little down. That day, one extra step, not willing. So no. Miserable people are always unwilling. Joyful people are willing to do whatever is needed, isn't it? Because once you're joyful, you're not a vested interest. What is needed you will do. If you're miserable, your happiness, your survival, your well-being is the issue, isn't it? That should not be the issue when you're with your patient. His well-being or her well-being is the issue. My well-being is not the issue. Yes? So do not understand empathy as just reflecting illness of your patient. Hello? He is concerned because for him, it's troubling him. Your concern is to get him well. This does not mean you reflect his illness, you also become ill in empathy. No. You must be a symbol of health and well-being. Very important.
And how do we do that?
You're doing well right now. Well, this is all it is. Essentially, your thought, your emotion, and your body should take instructions from you, isn't it? See now my hand, if I wanted it will go here, if I wanted it will come and sit here. If I don't want it to go here, it will simply sit here. It behaves the way I want. Suppose my hand is jumping all over the place. What is the ailment? Maybe Mr. Parkinson is visiting me. I don't know who wants his name on an ailment, huh? Don't ever put your name on an ailment, please. If you discover some new ailment, you want your name on it? No. What's your name?
Puja. No, Puja.
Puja syndrome. You don't want that.
No, I just want to be the symbol of joy.
Yes.
I'll keep it that way.
So, Now, if my hand jumps all over the place, you're immediately diagnosing me. Something wrong, whatever that is. If your thought is jumping all over you, all around the place, is it not a sickness? The only comfort you have is other people cannot see it. My hand jumps, everybody can see it. If my mind is jumping all over the place, nobody can see it. It's not so. If they pay enough attention, they can see it, isn't it? So is it not important we do something, especially when we have such a privilege and a responsibility? Other people are putting their lives in our hands. Is it not our responsibility to take charge of who we are? If you take charge of who you are, do I have to tell you, be joyful? If your thought and emotion was happening the way you want it right now, will you keep yourself blissful or miserable? 100% blissful, isn't it? It's not a choice, it's not a teaching that you must be blissful. It is just that your thought and emotion is not taking instructions from you. So if your intelligence is not in your hands, of course you will be a mess. Once your intelligence turns against you, no God in this universe is going to save you, just know this. You can pray as much as you want, more miserable you become, more you will pray. Yes. More miserable you become, more you will pray, because that's the nature of misery. But essentially all that's happened is your thought and your emotion not taking instructions from you. Let's see if you can. Can you just close your eyes and think about the ocean? Can you, all of you? Can you? Hello?
Yes.
Can you think of a flower?
Yes.
Tiger?
Yes.
See, you have this much control over you, your thought. You just have to exercise this. This needs a little bit of training. You understand? It needs a little bit of training. There are a few fundamentals that you have not understood about the nature of your own mind. Because of that, it's jumping all over the place. If you take charge of this, once your thought and emotion takes instructions from you, blissful is the only way you will choose to be. Once in a while, if you enjoy misery, have it. That's your choice. But I know if you are given a choice, what you will choose. I can trust your mind, isn't it?
Sadhguru, at work I deal with about 10 people on my team, and it's difficult for me to lead them. I understand you have about 9 million volunteers. How do you lead
And I
them?
don't pay them. You must know that. You pay them.
Yes.
Somebody pays them, all right? Well, I was doing a program for a 2-day event for the top 25 officials of Microsoft India. I had 9 volunteers. Our volunteers were always like that, on. So these people looked, these are people who are always looking for attrition. Sadhguru, where do you get such people? I said, you can't get them, you got to make them. Oh, how do you make them? I said, you got to make them fall in love with you. Oh, how do you do that? I said, first you must fall in love with them. Oh, they won't pay us for that. So, you can think that this life is a transaction. This life is not a transaction, it's a phenomenon. Either you ride it and enjoy it, or you do stupid transactions and think you're doing something. You must first decide, do you want to make a life out of this or just a living? This is something you must decide. If you want to make a life out of this, can you make a life out of this without involvement? Maybe all of you who are sitting here, maybe I'll never again see you. But when I sit here, you're my life. Because there's no other way. Hello? Is there some other way to be? Right now, I'm not looking at you, okay, these idiots, I'm done with them in next 10 minutes. Where am I going next? This is not my way. When I'm with you, you're my life. You are my life's focus right now. Without involvement, is there life, I'm asking? How profoundly you're involved is how profound your life is, isn't it? If you just bring this involvement to everything, indiscriminate, doesn't matter who, what, maybe we'll have nothing to do with this person tomorrow morning. But right now when this person is here, absolute involvement. You do this, you don't have to manage anybody. They will do what you want before you think about it. Yes.
Guruji, you said in the morning, my name is Lalita, you said in the morning that doctors was a profession of sage in the past.
I'm
But
sorry?
now, being a doctor is a profession of a sage in the past. But nowadays, like women, men, we practice medicine. My question is how to balance the life between managing the practice and at the same time the family. Like, I have 3 kids, so